Good evening and welcome to this best of five series tonight between Kasa Esports and Iliad Heroes. And joining me once again, it's been a little bit, but joining me once again is Zav. Hi Zav, how are we?
Hi, Nick. How you doing? It's been a wonderful time away, but I'm happy to be back. Hopefully, you had a fantastic holiday as well as everybody else.
hmm And it's been quite a few weeks since we've got to see them in action, and there's been some changes. We've got some roster changes coming in today for Kasa.
Yeah, before the holiday break, there were a few match reschedules that occurred, and so people just kind of got to go on vacation a little bit early. But since then, there are some new faces here on this Casa team.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's quickly, briefly talk about them. We got Skinny Legend here, who will be in game as McChicken. So you guys might say McChicken. Don't get confused. We will try and keep you informed about that, just in case of the name differences. But Skinny Legend here is a top 10, I believe, DPS player, like an exceptionally talented DPS player. Likes these kind of hit scan heroes. Cassidy, Ash. But is very flexible, so can kind of fit in whatever they need, and they are replacing Calms from the previous roster. So expecting some a good first off performance here from Skinny, and it seems like a lot of the picks are going to kind of be in their wheelhouse with what we see in the meta right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially given the fact that Sojourn is just always incredibly prominent with
hmm
being in this current meta, that hit scan and just railgunning is definitely going to be right up in their wheelhouse. We haven't had a chance to see too much Ash or Cassidy in some of the previous matches, but it would be interesting to see some different champions come into that mix now.
Yeah, absolutely. And to mention the other player joining Kasa Esports, Manjiro, who I believe is starting off as a sub today, but hopefully we do get to see a bit from Manjiro, who is a flex support player, I believe. So looking for a bit more flexibility in their roster, it looks like, and a bit more adaptation uh, to be able to play a bunch of different comps and styles comfortably by bringing these two in.
Definitely. And there's even an additional tank flex pick coming in here as well. Leo filling in at
hmm
times, maybe for Axer, depending on the matchup. And it's gonna be definitely a different approach for Casa. Previously, before the break, they were running a set roster for every match every single time, but they didn't really have any flex options into maybe specific matchups or specific maps for specialization, which they actually ran into some other teams doing against them going into the break.
Yeah.
So, having that flexibility on your roster to be able to make those changes to, better, have a better composition into certain matchups and maps is definitely a good thing to have. Just having more tools, more weapons at your disposal.
I mean, I'd kind of go so far as to say I think it's essential when you're playing at high levels because if you're running a very set comp and very similar strategies all the time, it becomes a lot easier for the teams to read your play and for themselves to adapt to you. Whereas if you show a multitude of different abilities, different strategies, ways of moving around the maps, then it's a lot harder for them to predict and then to counter you. And we know Overwatch can be a particularly tough game of counters sometimes. So
Well, it didn't gain the name Counterwatch for nothing. So it's definitely something
very
that the
true.
game deals with on a regular basis. Absolutely.
And let's just quickly talk about Iliad Heroes here, who both of these teams, Kasa is on a 1-5. They've won one game out of six, I believe, at the moment. So both teams really desperately looking for a win here. Iliad Heroes have not won a series yet, so are currently sitting at the bottom of the table, having lost all seven of their matches. So both teams are going to be pulling out all the stops, I feel like, to start the year off strong, start this 2026 Face It off strong, and try and get some wins under their belt.
It's gonna be very much a all or nothing kind of game feel for Iliad. Casa definitely wants that win. However, they are going to have to overcome having a new roster, some new players,
Yeah.
new cohesion to get around. So I think that they're looking to get a win. You definitely want to start off the new year into the back half of this split with a nice win, and that would really help with solidifying some of that cohesion going forward. But I also don't think they're going to let it necessarily break them down if they run into some problems, because that's kind of expected. This is going to be their first, real official match in the
Oh yeah.
FACEIT series with this lineup, with these members. And, that's not necessarily the case for Iliad, but Iliad is definitely looking for a win to start off their year after not getting one yet before the break.
Yeah, just to magically is the player we're going to be looking out for Iliad to kind of try and push them forward. You know, they're the star DPS player, loves these kind of very mobile champs like Genji and Echo, these playmaker champs. So we're definitely looking towards magically from Iliad to try and make those moves, and looking forward to seeing how Kasa kind of come together with this new roster. And as you said, there's always teething problems. There's always going to be maybe slight communication issues as well in the way that they like to kind of narrate the team fights and figure out what they want to do. But they've got some good players. I mean, Skinny and Manjiro are no joke. These are very, very good players that are joining this roster. So along with the staples that we've known from Casa before, looking to go in a new direction. So do you want to take us through the map pool a little bit here, Zav, before we get into game number one? This is a best of 5. So we could have quite a lot of games on our hands here. And as always, while we have seen Nepal be the first map pretty consistently throughout most of the series that we've casted.
Yeah, I mean, Nepal, hoping that it's the first map up in all of this again, as that's what we have consistently started off with. But you never want to be too sure. But it's going to be an interesting showing.
Are there any maps you're looking forward to? Any you want to see?
I'm very curious to see if we end up on, Monastery, the kryptonite of Kasa. All this time so far in all their matchups, it has been the one map that has been proven to be their biggest pain point to overcome. And so, some of that's going to depend on, the next map, who wins the first game and then who gets to decide the next map. Because as it's worked out, the team that, the teams get to decide the next maps, and of that nature, it could be a situation where Iliad has researched and seen that Monastery is a map that Casa struggles with, and they could maybe look to push that be a map to get a win on in this series.
Yeah, I would fully expect that, actually. For context, for those of you who have maybe not watched the previous Casa series with us, as we've been here casting them, with Kasa, they have really struggled on Shambali Monastery, and the past, I believe, 2-3 series that they've had to play on it, they've been held at first point. So it's not even been like really much of a contest. They've been very hard held pretty much every time, and it's looked like they've really struggled to find their footing on how to get past that first ramp corner to try and even cap a point. So I don't think it would take much really for Iliad Helios here to have done just even a little bit of research. And if they do know that, then I would fully expect Shambali to come out. Obviously, this is a new roster, so that's always got to play on the factor of their minds, right? Are they still going to be struggling as much on Shambali as a team when they've got brand new players in who, hey, they might be really good on that map? We don't know yet. We've yet to see them.
Yeah, absolutely. And, right now it's looking like we are going to see McChicken starting things off. We're not going to see Manjiro just yet. Perhaps on this first game, it is Nepal. But we are going to see Leo in for Axer at this time, and Proven there in on the DPS. And we are going to see Red X and Hex filling in the other spots as well. So it's going to be a little bit of a different setup, but it's going to be exciting to see how some of these new faces perform.
Yeah, as we start to look to get into the game here, do remember that the names might be a little different from what we've been talking about. So remember, McChicken is Skinny Legend. We will refer to them in the in-game names just to make this easier for you. But just so you are aware of that, there's definitely some very different name changes as well on the side of Iliad. So we will try and make this as easy as possible for you guys to follow as we look to get in. Some hero locks are being hovered here. We don't get baited. We've been down this road before as we are starting in a few seconds. Hanzo, I wonder if they stick to this on performance for Iliad. And it looks like they are. That's a really interesting choice. What do you make of that, the Hanzo?
You know, they might just be looking to get some early picks from afar, you know, take play with the range. You know, Echo does have really good range poke presence, and also being able to close that gap quickly. We are going to see Juno, Red X on the Juno, so no, I'm totally blanking on the other champion's name right now, but the other champion that has been the consistent support pick through most of the series.
Oh, Kiriko.
Yeah. So, you know, no Kiriko this time just yet. And we are seeing an Ana on the other side, which we have not seen very much of at all so far throughout the FACEIT series.
Yeah, I think this is really good actually into the Vendetta as we see McChicken piloting that Vendetta does go down. So a couple of really nice early picks from Iliad actually getting in here. We see the Zarya from Leo making moves. They're trying to survive as Lava does get both. And Lava, this is a Zarya mirror. We weren't sure whether we were going to get this or something more like the Sigma. But being a close quarters fight on this first point, not surprised to see these Zarya matchups as we see Iliad does get that first fight. 22% though, starting off for Kasa, so not the worst in the world as we see them going around that backside on the left, trying to just poke in on the top rather than going in through the main entrance. You see the bubbles coming out after gets a nice pick on Proven, as slow as well gets Red X, and here comes the fight back from Kasa, pick after pick, as we see the Echo flying in with the bubble, but there's not going to be enough as Performance gets that pick. Sorry, I've been doing it the other way around. The colors are still apparently not right on this, so I apologize. That's on me. There is a bug currently, so just to explain, there is a bug on the Spectator where the colors might be mixed up, so I apologize. I forgot. I thought they'd fix that by now, but they have not, so please bear with us. So actually, Iliad takes that second fight as well, and getting more percentage in their favor.
We are going to see Vendetta for the first time because Vendetta had just come out right before the break, and you know, we didn't get to actually see her in any matches, and so this is our first time seeing Vendetta in the game, and it is being piloted by McChicken, and it's going to be interesting to see how Vendetta shapes up in the current meta.
Yeah, and I think that's what the Ana is quite good for, is we do see Leo and Kasa finally making some moves, getting those picks, bullying the Zarya on the point as Hex flexing with that Lucio, gets the pick, gets a second on 5 as well, and McChicken cleaning up the Echo on that Vendetta. And yeah, I like how you point that out. We haven't really seen Vendetta yet because obviously we've not really been casting much since her release, but slight nerf recently to 5 damage, down to 45 damage now, but I still think a very strong pressure hero. And this is where I think the Ana from slow could come in really handy. That sleep, that anti can do wonders to try and curtail the dive from that Vendetta. As we see McChicken goes down really low, 1 HP, manages to survive somehow. Leo as well, getting down with the BAP, keeping them up in the corner, and there we go, they're going in. That's a huge grab. McChicken over the top as well. Leo, Lava, both capitalizing of a great play from Leo, catching at least 4 of them in that. And a huge play as they're looking for the stagger. Poor Slow, being punched slowly to death from McChicken. And that's a great stagger as well. Gets more percentage in their way. And this is all going to come down to this last fight, I think.
It's definitely a nice change for Kasa there. It took them a while to get control of the point, but now they have that positioning, and they just need to hold them off here. And there's the Hanzo trying to get it in, but McChicken is quick to pick up the kill there, taking Hanzo out of the equation. Very nice pickup for McChicken to offset it, but Lava is going to turn it around, bringing down Red X, and it is going to be a little bit of an offset.
Yeah, it's a really nice attempt on the grab, to be honest, from Lava, but the beats was there immediately. From Hex, kind of saving everyone. The Vendetta goes in. Red X Broom and getting the picks. McChicken does take out Slow as well, and it looks really good for Kasa on this point number 1 as it's pick after pick, and it is done. That is an excellent comeback after a couple of lost early fights as we get an end of the game pause.
I think Proven left just a little too quickly and it paused it by default.
Auto
Perhaps.
pause. Okay, proven a little too eager to move on to the next game apparently. But a good first showing from Kasa with this new roster. Is there anything
And
you've
it's like,
seen particularly?
well, I just, we had a slight, I had a slight misspeak there at the end. It was not Lava taking out Redx. Instead, what they did is they took out the immunity field of Redx Baptiste's there, but then Baptiste Redx on the Baptiste turned it around, took down Lava, and it was just an overall clean out sweep by Kasa there at the end.
Yeah, these colors can mess us up a little bit. So I know it's got me already. Just so you guys are aware, there is if you look at the kill feed and it's the wrong colors, we are aware of that bug. So as casters, that's how we will identify sometimes what's happening when there's a lot on the screen. So we apologize for the mix-up, but good game one from Kasa. Strong showing for their first series coming into 2026. So what do you think? I mean, do we just go straight to Shambali here after this one if they end up losing it? Or do they try and save that for later on, Iliad, as we look to see if they make any changes for the second point here?
Well, it's hard to say. It really depends on how Iliad feels on other map types. From what we know, they don't. It's hard to really know, given that they haven't won a series matchup yet, what their strengths are. So maybe just to get themselves some momentum, they might try to attack, a place that Kasa has shown a little bit of weakness first. But they maybe want to save it as kind of a do or die map as well.
Yeah, as we see a couple of switches here from Iliad, we see performance going onto that Ashe. We see after pulling on that Tracer, and we've seen a lot of Tracer, very meta at the moment, incredible pressure into the backline as well. There's performance getting that shot onto Hex and Lava following up as well. I think they're going to fall like dominoes right now unless McChicken can make some crazy play. Proven does get a pick on after, so maybe this is not over yet as McChicken is going bananas. Gets performance, makes it to the health pack as well, is playing out of their mind, and this is the newbie. We talked about how good this player is. I believe a top 10 DPS player currently from what we've been told, so definitely looking for some crazy playmaking and showing us a little bit there, getting the pick even when they were down a couple.
And really showcasing the mobility that Vendetta does have as a melee champion, jumping around the map, quickly getting to the health packs, and just playing in and out of those rooms, taking advantage of the line of sight to, just be aggressive at the right opportunities. Oh! And real quickly, Proven railgunning down performance there, and that is a nice double pickup for Proven to start off.
Absolutely blew the head off. That was so fast. I didn't even see it happen. As they follow up on that as Hex and Leo gets the picks as well, and they get the point in their favor. But yeah, it's really nice to see some kind of more flexibility in the strats as well. We were seeing very much before Christmas the same kind of the same heroes pretty much time and time again. So I'm enjoying seeing some more unique picks. As no surprise with the Juno after Juno's buffs.
It was consistently Kiriko and Lucio with Zarya and Sojourn, and the other DPS was usually a bit more of a flex.
Okay, this combination of McChicken on this Vendetta with the Zarya bubbles is absolutely disgusting, to be honest. I don't know what you even do about that. As Hex dancing around this point, gets a double couple with the Lucio, showing off. We know how much Hex loves this hero. They were showing it off before, and their movement is extraordinary. Playing their life on very low HP. Leo cleans up after to take that fight, and once again, these players are looking pretty happy and pretty confident here on Kasa. We love to see this.
Yeah, we're seeing some really aggressive plays by McChicken, which you're able to get away with when you have a Zarya there to bubble you and give you that protection. And right away, they're going right back in immediately to the back line there, but they do get gravitied and have to hold off.
The other
They do have the ultimate ready, though.
The counter grab is so good, though, as McChicken goes in off the back of it, and immediately good blocking from McChicken in the first place and just cleans up house. The counter grab from Leo was delightful in that small corridor. And man, do they make it work. Now they're spawn capping
in a tight room like that, that's where something like Vendetta is actually going to see a lot of benefit with all of that cleaving potential. And we saw it there when they got a triple. following up on that grab well that Leo put out.
Yeah, and just getting picks left and right, really proven. Taken out after the sleep slow does actually flex on Leo. They managed to finish that off. That could be enough, as proven does get the pick on Bob. So they can try and get back in here. McChicken goes down as well. Wait, this might not be over. It looked really good, but they're getting the picks. Lava as well picks one up. Having switched to the Doomfist, Hex cannot dance around the point for their life. It goes down, and actually they managed to get back in as Slow just flexing a little bit on that Ana.
Yeah, that little bit of a quick switch around there. Slow really winning that, you know, that flex 1v1 against Leo there into the sleep and letting the other teammates follow up and just immediately burn Leo down. Definitely kind of gave them positioning to be really aggressive onto the point, especially there on a Doomfist, you know, diving in and trying to get into the back line of Kasa as well.
Yeah, I think on reflection, they're probably going to look back at that and go, okay, we got a little bit cocky, a little bit confident, and we gave them a window to get back in. And the question is, how can you reset enough to stop the consistent picks happening as Hex does get after it? And here we go. It looks like they've stabilized McChicken. Gets slow. Hex gets one performance. Does get the trade on McChicken, but look at Leo standing tall. The Doomfist is trying to put in work on the back line. Lava is doing as much as they can, but this Zarya will not be moved in this front side. How do you even get in here? Booped off the map. That looks like a double boop as RedX and Proven finish it off. Hex still dancing around. They are stalling this out with the overtime as we see how effective After is being on this Tracer. Just never dying. Finally goes down to RedX, but they do get a kill off the back. Can Lava make it in? Oh, the grab to stop them. Willing to drop that at the entrance. And we see Kasa take the first map. And this is an important one for them, I feel.
This is the first time we've seen them take a first map in a little bit. And there we see McChicken getting the play of the game. And they really did flex their stuff here on the Vendetta. This was that room with the reverse grab well, the counter grab well, and it just let them be as free as they wanted to be on that Vendetta. So great showing that time around.
I mean, what can you do about that? I mean, we just saw in that highlight, you know, going in on that Juno. If you're the Juno there, what can you do? If you've got a bubbled Vendetta running at your face with those kind of mechanics, yeah, I think you just accept the death and kind of go next, right? So I wonder if, I mean, the question here is, does Iliad choose Shambali, or do they have a strat into this? Like, what would you want to see them try and run? Let's assume that Kasa are going to run this back. You know, they're going to run a Zarya with the Vendetta and this dive bubble strat. What would you like to see Iliad try and pull out to either manage or counter dive themselves?
You know, it's gonna be interesting, definitely, because you know, as much as people like the Ana, you know, if you don't get that sleep, it is absolutely terrifying for you to have a dive DPS on your face like that. Juno doesn't have a lot of means for dealing with it either. So I think if we see the Vendetta again, and we are actually going to see...
This is crazy. Yes, so instead of choosing Shambali, which we know like that Kasa have struggled so much on, we've talked about this from the start of this broadcast, they choose to go Dorado instead, which is crazy to me. They must feel pretty confident on this. For context, the loser of the map picks the next map. So this is Iliad's choice. They had the choice, and they've chosen to go Dorado. What do you think about this?
You know, I think it's just maybe more of a matter of what they're comfortable on rather than trying to go with what Kasa is uncomfortable on. But in turn, you know, it maybe wouldn't be with this lineup that it would benefit them because it's a bit of a different roster. You know, McChicken and Leo, maybe they don't really have problems with Shambali Monastery. Maybe the comp that they're running and that play style that they currently have would actually be more beneficial on Shambali. And so maybe, you know, we just see Iliad here going with a map that they're comfortable on, a map that they feel good about, rather than trying to go with the discomfort option.
Yeah, absolutely. As we are getting into the game right now, let's see what we have. We see a Widow looking for that early pick, I would imagine, into a swap as they're trying to find that angle. And on the other side, pretty standard. We see RedX going to that Kiri. that we talked about so much before, this pairing of the Kiri Lucio that they enjoy. And really, nothing out of the ordinary for Kasa, except for McChicken rocking this Vendetta once again.
Yeah, you know, we haven't seen Proven on Tracer a ton. They usually are on that Sojourn, so it is nice to see them on something a little bit different. Again, and right there, McChicken getting out, staying alive with that mobility that Vendetta has.
Unreal.
It's really incredible to see, getting away with no HP. But we are seeing a little bit of a different lineup from Iliad here. We are seeing a Wu Yang and a Winston. We don't get to see Winston very often, nor do we see Wu Yang too frequently, but that might be, you know, one of their plays for trying to deal with what they've been going up against.
I think Win is good for like just trying to take people off the high ground, especially on this first point. It can be quite difficult when people are posted up, and Win just like helps apply that pressure with the Echo. You know, you got the Wujian behind you as well, and we see him do exactly that, right? Getting up to this top side, just trying to push them back a little so that they can move the cart forward instead of getting stuck on this first corner. But these bubbles are on point from Leo, making sure that no one really is going down. There hasn't really been a kill. It feels like they might be just lacking the damage a little bit with what they have. It's very pokey. You know, this Tracer Echo, they're struggling to kind of finish these kills before the bubbles and the heals come out. They do get it round this first corner just through sheer pressure. So we'll see if they can continue to do that using this high ground to get round.
Yeah, now that they're able to get around that first corner, we can maybe see the Tracer make a little more use of that mobility. Performance can maybe get around to the backside of Kasa a bit more and really, you know, cause a little bit more of a disturbance instead of it just being Kasa holding that front line point. And here we are going to see Leo coming in from the backside, flanking on that Zarya and being a bit of a disruption themselves and catching themselves in a room. 1v1 Proven following it up though to help him out, picking up a double.
Yeah, this is the battle of the Tracers. I mean, Performance as well on the other side, getting that bomb onto Leo. He picks up all three, I believe. Proven picks up a double on the other side. So this is a battle of which Tracer is getting the better of the team comps right now. As we see, Proven does have that bomb ready after. On the Echo, does have the copy as well ready to go. And again, this Win just pressuring this high ground, making it difficult for this Vendetta to post up here. As you see Leo trying to contest, and basically the full team trying to contest this high ground right now against just this Winston. As you see, after does copy into that Zarya. We've seen this before. It's a good grab. It's a massive grab actually from Leo as he gets the triple. Performance does get the better of the Tracer battle, but Leo again with these excellent grab timings picks up a triple off the back of it, and poor after trying to do the same on the other side, copying into that Zarya, tries to get the grab, but Leo gets there first.
That was a really great grab well to turn things around, because at that time the momentum was very much so in favor for Iliad. You know, they were pushing fairly steadily through that objective and onward, and here we come see the Wu Yang ult in, knocking down Kasa. They are going to see one go down. Lava picking up Proven now on the Cassidy, and we are going to see Leo instead trade that for the Echo on the other side. Lava bringing down Red X in exchange, so it's still a little bit of a favor for Iliad here, steadily advancing, but Kasa is not giving much ground.
Now these bubbles are just so clean and so quick, and we saw it right there as they were popping all of the ults to push forward. Leo is putting on a masterclass of Zarya play. As you see, Proven does get a pick on Lava. So this Cassidy, as we talked about, coming in. I'm a Cassidy player myself. I love this hero. So always a fan to see that, as McChicken gets the pick on Performance as well. These small picks add up in time really, really fast, as we see 2 minutes left on the clock for them to push this forward here on Iliad.
They have it halfway through this second point, so 2 minutes is still a lot of time, but you don't want it to be entirely ran down in order for the time that you get to that next objective, because then you just do not have a lot of time to push that third point. So they definitely want to try to get there within this next minute, so they have a little bit of cushion. And there it is, Lava with a double. Leo flipping it on the backside though, bringing him down in exchange. McChicken picking up slow. It's a 2-for-2 trade on both sides, and it is just a absolute lock point at this point.
I mean, this is a brawl on the high ground, honestly. Like, we see Lava so happy to jump in on this backline, gets the Cassidy, finds 5 as well. and gets really two very important pickups, which allow them to push forward. But then Leo comes in, just gets that Winston, as you see them poking and prodding, and they really don't want to give up this high ground. As 100 charge on the Zarya. McChicken gets slow, manages to find that all-important pick. That's going to slow things down. There's 1 minute left on the clock here. You don't want to flip this on one fight, so they really need to try and get some momentum, as we see so many ultimates available here. For nearly 5 ready for Kasa. This looks so good as the picks come in thick and fast as well. Leo gets after Hex as well, and they are going to have all 5 ults for this fight if they don't need to use them, as McChicken with this bubbled Vendetta just causing absolute havoc on this backside. And no ultimates available for Iliad. This is going to be a really, really hard fight to win.
Yeah, they've got 30 seconds to try and get some ult generation. They'll probably be able to get the Kiriko ult up maybe in time before the time runs out, but they're going to be burning their ults just to try to get that payload into the final spot. Here comes the Gravwell right now, right on the corner, and we're going to look to see Kasa try to pick up multiple kills. McChicken bringing down the Echo, pursuing into the backline, getting the Wu Yang. Leo takes down Kiriko. Performance exchanging for proven, however, but not without the cost of their own life. Leo finishing off that last kill, and it is going to be the final seconds.
They used one ultimate. They used a grav. McChicken's just used theirs, but they used only a grav for that entire first fight. There was no way that Iliad were going to come back in on that, and great hold back. They didn't feel like they needed to dump. They got the team fight they wanted, and a nice, easy first half, really, for Kasa. Pushed it, I mean, they get the 1 point, but this is all to play for, and I think McChicken, this combo of Leo and McChicken is causing mayhem for Iliad.
They're having really great synergy. McChicken is following up on all of these Gravwells really nicely and is just capitalizing on it to the fullest extent with what Vendetta does offer. So, you know, really exciting to see this Vendetta play. It's a very exciting play style to actually witness overall.
It's one of those very high skill ceiling heroes, you know, that when you see someone incredibly proficient on it, it's very enjoyable to watch. You know, same with the heroes like Genji. You know, if we're talking other games, you know, there's those heroes in Marvel Rivals as well. It's these very high skill cap heroes. Tracer is another one. When you see a great Tracer player just kind of zipping around all over the place, it's very fun to watch. And let's see if Iliad can do any better on the defense. It doesn't look like they're making any changes, which is quite surprising. I'm surprised they're sticking with the Winston here, as yes, it's very good for getting up and down these high grounds, but doesn't really feel like it's going to give them enough to stop this momentum forward from McChicken and Proven diving in their backside.
Well, they did drop off of the Wu Yang and have gone with the more, you know, all reliable Lucio. So we'll see how that works out for them. I think they're really just trying to figure out a support that is able to survive a little bit to the just menacing
Vendetta
gameplay that is Vendetta. You know, McChicken just being up in their house nonstop.
Yeah, as you see, Red X gets an early pick on performance. That Ashe does get nipped off, and it's already so much momentum forward. Gets under that archway, pushing it quite a good amount of weight, and they're going to have to regroup Iliad pretty quickly as we see them coming back in after looking for positioning on the left, but already spotted by McChicken. You can see on that high ground, goes into the room, sees them both, gets the pick. Well, Proven gets a pick on slow with the help of McChicken here, just going all over the place. You cannot run from this Vendetta. The mobility just means that you can't get anywhere as Leo gets a double off the back of it. Performance does pick up one on Hex, as we see in the sky. Leo getting another one and just showing off really now. This looks pretty stompy right now from Kasa.
We're just really seeing McChicken fully utilize that Vendetta play that I think not a lot of people have a ton of familiarity with. This is what Vendetta looks at a much higher level. It's definitely not what a lot of people are used to seeing who might be watching overall, but
damn, calling really out the viewers for low rank, crazy
character. I mean, you know, playing games, you see Vendettas, and a lot of them, you know, they just swing their sword and they use their abilities periodically. But we see McChicken just frequently, non-stop using their skills for repositioning. You know, it maybe isn't even using an ability for damage or for pressure, but it's just to entirely reposition back around on the enemy team.
Yeah, and already we see them pretty much at the point that Iliad were at, with 4.5 excuse me, 4.5 minutes on this clock. Trying to play that high ground. There's the Kyriot dropped. As we see Chicken just going on to that high ground. Performance has already got low. They're diving in, finding against Lava, who goes down pretty quickly. And I think they're going to just have to back off here. But they've got to try and show us some kind of fight. Slow does get proven, so that is a nice pick. Wait, Slow, though, gets a double. This could be exactly what they need. Performance does jump down, gets killed. Hex with the pick on Performance. Leo Hex joining in off the back of this, though. And I think this is going to be it. The Winston is the only one left to contest, as it's already done and done. Kasa 2-0 up in very dominant, quick fashion. And oh boy, if you are Iliad, you have got to find an answer to this dive.
Really great performance by Kasa in this El Dorado match. You know, it's good to see them get a win on push, which is normally one of the rounds that they have had difficulty with in the past, albeit predominantly on Shambali. But I think that they are showing that their current lineup, their current comp, is dealing with some of those issues that they've had before much more comfortably. So it's, you know, Leo and McChicken have both been the play of the games in the first two matches, and these two have been doing absolute wonders together in terms of their synergy and playing off of one another's characters.
Yeah, obviously, you know, we're talking a lot about this duo. Let's not take away from the other performances, the supports. You know, Red X and Hex being very staple here on very comfort picks. So if you're Iliad here, I mean, knowing that they're probably going to rerun this dive back, they're going to run this Zarya Vendetta. What map would you like to see them try and go into to try and, I guess, mitigate it as well? We've just got our answer, and it's a spicy one. We've not really seen this yet.
It is interesting to see Runasapi. I don't actually know that we've seen Runasapi, because it's always...
I don't believe we have.
Yeah, we always see the other push map. I'm
New Queen Street.
New Queen Street, yeah.
Yeah.
New Queen Street is the one that we've frequently seen in all this time, and New Queen Street is a bit more flat compared to Runasapi. Runasapi has some more elevation, up-down points, whereas New Queen Street is a bit more flat with minor gradual increases to the elevation on the side.
There's so many flank angles, though, on Runasapi. So this, I just feel like this feels like it benefits Kasa so much with what they're running right now. You know, this Vendetta Tracer, I would not be surprised to see that again, to be honest, because there's so many ways to get in and around the backside.
And it's all at different elevations, you know, low points, high points, all around. So it definitely, I agree. I think right now with how they've been playing, it benefits them. But we are not going to see a Vendetta at this time. We are going to see McChicken on the Symmetra, which is definitely something that we have not seen unless they are going to change it at the last second, which they are.
Yeah, you don't get baited.
Well, the timer already started, so I thought we were locked in, but they go to the Tracer, which is still something we have not seen McChicken on just yet. So a little bit something different. Lava changing it up for Iliad here onto the Ramatra.
The Ram.
So a little more.
Yeah, and I think this is interesting because obviously the Zarya mirror has not really been going their way, as McChicken already gets an early pick. Leo as well gets the better of Lava, and Red X already early fight and early push here for Kasa. And yeah, we've seen this. We've seen that mirror not really working out in Lava's favor, so I don't blame them for the switch. I think Ram can be very, very punishing and very strong, especially with those ults. But Leo is showing up today and making a name for themselves.
We do get to see Proven back on the Cassidy, something that we haven't seen them on too much. They're usually on that Sojourn.
Ooh!
And right now, Performance swapping over to the Hanzo, picking up that insta-kill onto McChicken. So getting a little bit of value right away on that swap. And we're going to see whether or not Iliad can, you know, get a stop and maybe turn this robot around.
Yeah, it's a great fight off the back of that pick, actually. And it all kind of snowballs from there as we see them pick up kill after kill after... off the back of Performance's incredible early pick. And this is where the Hanzo can be so good, especially with, we talked a lot about these high elevations and flank angles, but there is also a lot of long sight lines if you go down the road. So it can be really good for these kind of Hanzo, these Ashes, these long range sniper heroes, and we've seen that already, and it gives them a good amount of push as we see him come back into contest. As Proven takes a little bit of damage early, fighting in this backside, and just posturing for now, building up some ults. As we see, McChicken does have that bomb online. Proven Red X, not too far away. 5 drops it immediately, actually. That Kyriel down on the ground. We see Leo hiding in this corner, gets sent on by Lava, who isolate them in that corridor. Proven taking a pick on slow, though, so this could be what they need. McChicken fighting for their life, does go down. Performance once again gets that snipe on McChicken. This is seeming like the Tracer answer right now for them as they continue to push it forward, gain the lead as well with 55 meters on the clock. And good use of the ults, as we see. They do have a lot to work with. Proven with the Deadeye. As we see them now fighting back. Red X drops that Kyriel on the floor, allows them to push in, looking for the angle. McChicken looking for that bomb. Are they going to drop it? Looking for this backline, slow, isolated, but McChicken is going down solo, gets the pick, then gets the time back, goes to full health. Performance, though, on the other side. Lava, and after picking up the others, Performance again gets the better of McChicken, and it seems like they found the answer. I wonder if McChicken wants to swap now, because that's 3 times back-to-back. Performance has got the better of them.
You know, I keep thinking that McChicken is going to use this ultimate so that they can swap, but so far McChicken has been holding on to this ultimate on Tracer, and I wonder if we'll just see them quickly burn it here at the start of the next fight, or if they're going to look for something more specific again. But right now we do have a grab. Robot turning in a little bit, turning around for Kasa, and they're trying to work that robot back towards the middle. The fight happening a little bit towards that place, pacing uphill, positioning
Performance
for
again.
them. Kasa bringing down Hex, so that's a support down, but McChicken's going to bring down Performance, finally getting his get back onto him, and it is now going to be a bit of a tug of war here on the objective for these two teams.
Yeah, it's a really nice grab from Leo, and I was going to talk about that before, whether they were saving it for a grab combo with the Tracer. They do get the 1 pick off the back of it, but they're not really getting any progress forward. It's 80 meters here for Iliad. We're getting a mega dump here. Everyone fighting for their life. Leo in this front side. The Hanzo Dragons do come down, forcing everybody back. The bubble is great, though. Keeps them alive. Performance gets McChicken again, though. Lava so low. As Lava does go down, Red X does get after, so maybe the picks are going the other way. The bubble, last second, is so clutch. Leo is so good with these bubble timings. Gets the pick as well. Proven gets the better of Performance. And it looks like they might have turned this around as poor 5 trying to take the 1v1, but Leo there with this bubble once again ready as they can skip across now and send it the other way. And this Zarya is a problem.
And while that fight was happening on the backside of the point, we did have Proven and McChicken over here pushing the objective all the way back to the other side of the map. So as that fight ended, the robot, the payload was already making its way back to advancing once again. But very quickly, we are seeing Iliad come back, looking to turn that robot right back around. Unfortunately, Performance not able to get the pick that they wanted there, and they're gonna have to wait a little bit after biding their time. They have the ultimate, waiting for their chance to go in, but they instead are going to see Performance and McChicken trade on both sides.
Watch out for this grab. Watch Leo, though, for this grab. Their picks are coming out. Slow gets another one as well. Trying to peel, but does go down. That's actually a really good pullback. They tried to peel to help the supports, but they were already too low. After using that pulse bomb, gets Proven as well. So really good fighting, honestly, from Iliad, and not something we've seen in the first 2 maps. So maybe this is why we're seeing them choose Ruinous Harpy. They're looking pretty strong on it right now.
And at this time, not having McChicken on the Vendetta has maybe been, kind of the thing that's really working out.
What a grab!
Iliad. A huge gravity well coming out.
Oh my God,
picking up a
everyone.
double off of it. Hex picking up one as well. Red X taking down Lava. That's going to be 4 down for them. And that's going to be a full team kill. Red X finishing things off there for, Kasa. And that's just a great time. Grabwell caught all of them inside the building on top of the bus, and they just took them all down one after another.
I need to know if Leo's hit any less than a 3-person grab this entire series so far. I don't think they have. It's been an insane performance coming out of them. Performance, though, speaking of, does get a pick on Proven. Lovely segue, Nick, as we see them just poking, prodding McChicken. Has that pulse. as we see Performance looking for these picks, get it. He's got the better of the Tracer a number of occasions already. As we see, this is a very difficult corner to fight in sometimes. There's so much elevation, so many angles to look at. As Leo hiding behind that van is being looked at by the Hanzo, but Proven gets the better of them as they sneak around that corner trying to find the angle. Proven says absolutely not, you are not going to get my tank, as After does find Hex in the back, and Lava on this Ram is putting in so much pressure on this front side, making it really difficult to push forward, as 5 does pick up Leo, and it looks like they're going to root everybody. 5 on this Kiri getting the finishes, and it's really close, 72 to 81, but it is in control of Iliad.
Yeah, very strong showing. I just think that the lack of pressure on their backline right now, the no vendetta is really what is allowing for Iliad to be a bit more comfortable here. They're able to look for picks a bit more, like, without having to look behind themselves as much with where McChicken might be on the vendetta. But it's, just really been working out in their favor. We are going to see the Kiriko ult come out here, but Red X fell during it. Proven picking up 1 in exchange. Hex and McChicken picking up 3 in that exchange after taking down Proven. So it is a bit of an advantage right now for Kasa, but not without losing a couple in the process.
Yeah, they do clean up finally, as After was just dancing around a little bit there, just kind of wasting the time. But yeah, the Tracer is the same idea of like trying to dive on this backside, right? And especially if they're running this kind of long range like Hanzo idea to get these picks, you would expect that the Vendetta would do really well. And the Tracer is struggling to kind of stay alive with these headshots. So maybe they look to change that if it comes down to it, but they do have a pulse bomb, so that and Hex beats is probably what they're looking for to win this fight. Try and keep it moving because it is close for them. If they win this fight, it could send them in the lead with so little time. They might actually just be trying to bide their time as we see the pulse bomb looking for it. They're waiting for Leo probably. He does have another grab right now. Look out for Leo on this grab. We've seen it be so effective. Pretty much win every fight that they've had it. The beats gets dropped. Sojourn has theirs as well. The grab has been dropped somewhere. We haven't been able to see it, but McChicken does finally get the better of performance in that 1v1. And that might be what they need as the bubbles coming out. Proven just fighting for their life. Spins around, gets After as well, as we see Proven just getting pick after pick. 5 does get Red X, so there is one back the other way, but is it enough to hold as McChicken is running them over? And they take the lead, 25 seconds to go. They might have clutched this right at the end of this match, as they've got to not only win one fight, but multiple fights now if Iliad want to come back into this. They still have 2 ults. They've got ultimates to work with. Ram with their Performance, with the Dragon. Kiri as well. These are going to be key. It's now or never. 7 seconds left on the clock, and there we go. Proven with an early pick on Performance, and that is the Hanzo all out of the way. The timing is impeccable from Proven. Gets that pick as After does get the exchange, but Lava is in the front side, trying to hold on to this point for dear life. After getting Proven, so it is still anybody's game. Can they get back in time as Lava is sitting on this point? Red X trying to poke them off. They're so low. Is there any healing here? Lava does go down. Hex gets that finish off. The Hanzo ult is too late, and it looks like it's a fight to the death, but no one is going to be able to touch. But Lucio just touches, but Slow gets them in exchange. After goes down as well. McChicken cleaning up on this point, and that is done. 3-0 for Kasa straight away. No messing. What a great start for them to 2026.
Definitely something that they needed. We are going to see the play of the game here for Performance on the other side, and I think that is well warranted. It was definitely the biggest problem. This Hanzo was the biggest hurdle for Kasa in this match. Performance very well played this time around on that Hanzo. They weren't able to do too much with it on the first map on Nepal, but this time around they really were able to get into it. And I think it does lead into those long hallway angles that this map does provide, as well as not having the Vendetta breathing down their neck 24/7. And it just it was definitely a tougher match for Kasa. That was a much more competitive match compared to the first 2 rounds that we got to see. Particularly that second round, Kasa just kind of ran away with it a little bit.
Yeah.
Leo and McChicken just being an offensive juggernaut presence overall. But really great start for Kasa here this time around, getting 2026 off to a big win.
Yeah, and to do it in such convincing 3-0 fashion as well will be a very big confidence booster for them, especially for those of you that have followed with us throughout these series. You will remember the last series was a 3-0 the other way and pretty difficult, I think, for Kasa to take from that series. So it's lovely to see them bounce back so strong and show us the opposite. Show us, okay, new roster, new players. That they clearly had some good ideas going into this with the Vendetta Zarya combo. Comfort for the excellent support players who we didn't really talk much about because we didn't really need to. They, Hex and Red X have been very staple players throughout all of their series that we watched them in. Lovely to see them, have the backup as well to continue to show us that consistency with some great playmaking. So good confidence booster for Kasa.
Couldn't agree more.
And with that, this is going to be a very quick one, but thank you for joining us. We will be back with the future series from Kasa. I cannot remember when the next one is off the top of my head, but the schedule should be somewhere if you follow Kasa, and please do go follow them. We are casting all of their games and all of their series. We've got, I believe, 8 more after this to do as well throughout this Masters League. So we hope you've enjoyed the cast. We hope you come and join us for future ones. And that's going to be it from me. I'm Simply Nickish, and it was lovely to cast for you, and I'll see you soon.
And I'm Zav, and it's been a great time starting off 2026.
We'll see you next time.